Hey everyone. All right, so I am here to talk to you about the VideoMic X and how I use it in my work, and specifically the settings that I use and what I do with my camera settings to kind of adjust for and work with the mic settings just to make sure that I get the best sound that I possibly can. So the first thing that I would recommend you doing if you do have this microphone is go ahead and download the manual, because it does give you a lot of detail that I'm going to be covering and sharing with you today. So it's a really handy sort of visual guide that will take you through the things specifically that I'm talking about as well. And so kind of using the both will help refresh if you don't have time to rewatch this video before a shoot or something like that. So first I'll just show you the microphone itself and what it looks like. So this is the Rode, it's called the, I always call it something wrong. So the Stereo VideoMic X is what it's called. And it's battery operated, so it doesn't use the power from the camera. So that's something really important to note. I usually have spare batteries on hand with me in my camera bag for every single session that I do, just in case, because it says that it gives up to 30 hours of battery life, but you never want to be in that scenario where you're doing a shoot and all of a sudden you have run out of battery on your microphone, because it doesn't pull the power from your camera the way some other mics do. So always make sure that you have that on hand. It comes with two different types of shields for the microphone. This is the pop shield and this is the wind shield. This one will reduce a little bit of wind noise. It's kind of a good, I guess, all-rounder as long as you're shooting indoors or there's like a really light breeze outdoors, wherever it is that you're shooting. So it does reduce a bit of that extra noise, but it doesn't handle noise as well when it's like really strong wind, which for me is why I always tend to have this one on, because I just feel like it covers all the bases just in case we go outside and all of a sudden it's windy, because I just don't always know or check, or that's just not on my thing of things that I'm thinking about, is how windy it's going to be during the shoot. And so I just always use this one, but you can use either one. You can interchange them. I just use this one the most. So this is the windshield. On the back of the mic, let me just try and turn it. There we go. You'll see there's 3 buttons: top, middle, and bottom. So the top one is like a, I want to try and remember exactly what it's called so that you can refer easily back. It's like a boost sort of setting, called high frequency boost. That's what it is. So what this does is it adds a little bit of clarity to the overall signal, particularly if you are using something like the windshield. It kind of muffles the sound a little bit, and so what this does is it sort of boosts the quality of the sound. So I always have that on the +6 setting. Then the next one down is your high pass filter, and what that does is it cuts out sounds of like air conditioning and traffic noise and wind and things like that. So I always generally have that on the highest, which is 150. You can play around with this yourself and adjust the settings and see kind of what difference that makes. Personally, it's one less thing for me to worry about. I just leave it on 150. And then the bottom one is what determines sort of how loud the sound is. So you'll see the decibel, it says +20 and then 0 and then -10. So generally, if I am at a shoot and the family is sort of far away from me, and the noise, most importantly, the noise, the audio, their voices, the level of their voices is like a medium, and I'm far enough away, like maybe I'm in a wide shot, long shot, maybe even a mid shot on a 70 focal length or something like that. I'm going to have it at +20. And that just ensures I'm getting the best sound that I possibly can at that distance away from them, it boosts the level of sound that comes through. 0 would be sort of your middle ground, and then -10, I'll usually flip to that if I am shooting close up and there's a toddler who's really loud, because what this does is it reduces the audio that's coming into the microphone, and it helps you avoid the chances of your audio being clipped, which would be like if you consider it the same thing as like overexposing your highlights. It's a similar concept. You can kind of think of this in that way, I guess. You don't want really loud, like you don't want to be at +20 in a really loud situation where you're really close to your subjects. So usually I'll switch it to -10 if I'm in that scenario. If I remember and I think about it, that's what I do. So those are the things to think about. These are your controls that you have on the microphone. In addition to this, the microphone works best when you are using the manual audio settings on your camera. So what that is if you go in to your camera menu, there should be a place where you have sound recording. And if you can see on the screen there for me, it says sound recording and then manual. So I'm just going to click on that. And then I'm going to make sure that I've selected manual instead of auto. So yes, that's ticked. And then down here where it says record level, I'm actually this is called the gain within the camera. This is the level of audio that the camera itself is recording. You will get the best results if you turn that down just a little bit and you turn the microphone decibel level up. Okay, so you can see that I have mine when I adjust it. Let's see if I can actually see. That's okay, there it's going. If I push my arrows, in either direction, it adjusts it up and down. So I have mine set to kind of closer to like the first little notch in the line. So it's not all the way down, but it's just down more than halfway. Okay. So I do that, and understanding that I do that, I know that my microphone already kind of needs to be on that higher level, which is why sitting at that +20 range for me on the microphone, that setting, that bottom decibel setting I was showing you, is a pretty good place to sort of just be most of the time. I usually only switch that if I am in a situation where the kid's being super loud and I'm really close. So that's kind of it, really. Like, that's the simplified version of it. Always make sure that you've got this cord plugged in. If it's not plugged in, it's not going to record to the microphone. So you'll just need to make sure that you're doing that. But hopefully that has helped. If you have any other questions about what I do or how I do any of that, please feel free to ask in the network. I'm here to help. But I do like to try and just keep things as simple as possible. Now, that principle of having your camera settings set to manual and on the lower side will apply in any situation where you're adding a mic to your camera. So even if you're using one of the lower level microphones, I don't have it handy here right now, but the Rode Mic Go or any of the others, bringing down the camera, if you have the option, actually not the Rode Mic Go, because it doesn't have the option to boost your decibel levels on the back of it. So any camera where you are able to control the decibel input, the best settings are going to you'll get the best audio results when you drop the settings in camera and increase the settings on your mic. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll chat to you soon.